I have in the house as well, Stanbic Beck being represented right here. And we have regional CEO now. The last time we were talking, that wasn't the title, so we have to give him his flowers. And Joshua Oigara is in the house. Josh, it's good to see you.
Thank you very much, Maina.
Absolutely.
This is the best show I want to be in. I flew all the way from Washington, D.C.
Oh my goodness, I love this. I love this. Thank you, Joshua. And congratulations, first of all, because the last time we talked, we didn't have the regional title, and now you are seeing a bigger cake of Africa.
Thank you.
Yes. First of all, I want to appreciate you for the sustainability report launch. And why I say that is because we are seeing a bit of a lag in some areas, but that resilience and saying we must continue having this conversation is very important. Last time we talked about sustainability, we were talking about deepening impact. That was our theme then. But today we were talking about prosperity with purpose. What does this evolution tell us? And what are you talking about, Stanbic's story on sustainability?
Well, so this is quite exciting today. If you look at the transformation of our business, Stanbic, but also at the financial sector. At the heart of it, when you talk about sustainability before, it was we needed to consider it with the business performance, consider it about growth. There was a kind of a balancing game. But that's not anymore. There's incredible convergence when you think about enterprise and what you're doing every day. And so when you think about bringing everybody on the table, communities, individuals, businesses, it's around the inclusive growth. So, and you don't always arrive. Sustainability is not a plan where you tick a box and saying, I am done. It's momentous progress. And what I'm excited about this fourth report this year is that we're bringing in collaboration with partners. We're looking at areas of technology to speed up how we're executing. We're able to build on trade, which is a big area of the corridors in the region. And when you build partnership, you architect a great momentum for impact.
Speaking about the same thing on the report, I wanted to ask you, what would you say? A myriad of things were presented there in terms of achievements, but what are your tops that you're very proud of?
So we look at the numbers. The outcomes are critical. Whether it's what you've done in terms of how much funding have we done for smaller enterprises, SMEs. More than 133 billion shillings have been dispersed for trade alone. And remember, trade is a key catalyst for transformation for enterprises. Anyone in business is selling something. Now, trade is a more complex term, but it's selling some stuff. When you think about the areas we're doing in terms of women in businesses today, how much money are we funding those businesses? If we think about our housing, affordable housing partnership with the Kenya Mortgage Financing Company, we are the largest lender today for homes. And homes are transformational for families. When we talk about our green campaign and climate change, a year ago, we had less than 10,000 trees planted. This year, we are more than 200,000 planted with a target of reaching 1 million. So the numbers is one aspect. But the second aspect, which is crucial for me, is what is the transformation we're seeing on the business side? Because numbers sometimes don't give the full truth. And there were 3 points I picked up. One is that across the corridors of trade, we're seeing more jobs being created by businesses. We're seeing businesses going across the country, cross-border transactions. And when those happens, you're building an economy. The second item is around using technology in this generation of AI to say, can we be smarter? Can we provide smart financing? Correct? Can you make sure that clients... So today, if I had a small business, is a tea trader in an ecosystem in Kericho, how do we aggregate them, use their data cycles to give them better credit when they need it? There's cycles in tea, for instance. And then finally, you have to think about collaboration with partners. So the UN Women Partnership we signed today, we have got the engagement we've done with, for instance, in the last year, we did some work also with the Kenya Mortgage and Refinancing Company. We did a big partnership last year with the Green Bond, the largest green bond with a large client of ours last year. And that shows you the possibilities. And for me, the final answer I would say is sustainability is working with clients during the journey, in the course of building their businesses. So we don't anticipate that clients arrive, but we partner with them in the journey of building sustainability in their business.
I love that. Partnership, that's the word. And maybe just to dig deeper into that, because as you know, and you have actually highlighted as well, trade and investment is big for this particular continent. And if finance is available, as you have said, then it means we need to have priority areas and opportunities. Would you say infrastructure is the biggest? And as you now and the bank and what you're looking at, are you looking at facilitating some of this?
In this market, and I would say without any contradiction, that we are the most prepared and ready bank for financing large-scale infrastructure. And there is a very broad range.
Absolutely.
You may be speaking about, for instance, roads, ports, energy sector. You talk about telecommunications, agribusinesses, logistics and ports, you know, and even trade corridors. Now that is something that we do extremely well. There is nobody who can do it as well as we do because we're able to connect ourselves in many countries. And look at it this way. Across the region, when you talk about trade, our biggest trading partner today as Kenya Miner is Uganda. Is our neighbor. How do we make that process less with friction? Correct? So how do we use technology? How do we use logistics? How do we use data to make that process easier? And Uganda is one country. How do we connect with Rwanda, the Eastern DRC, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Tanzania? That cluster, Maina, is nearly 400 million people today.
Wow.
So when the conversation we had in Washington is to say, Africa has to trade more with themselves. Let's start with us.
Let's start with
East African community is our natural market psyche for our business.
Absolutely.
So the $1 billion, which is 133 billion shillings last year, was just our own of saying we are standing behind trade within the corridor. And until you think about the corridor conversations, remaining small in your own context loses the opportunity to be able to build enterprise, to create opportunities, to get jobs, to improve revenue, and build the economy.
Joshua, as you were talking, I want to quote you. You said that many businesses are just one opportunity away from scaling. And I just wanted you to elaborate on that, on what you're doing at Stanbic to ensure that this particular gap, be it corporates, be it SMEs or entrepreneurs, are achieving this.
We're spending enough time studying why do our businesses really don't scale as fast as they need. And I will tell you two aspects I have learned. Businesses don't struggle because they have faced a massive change in their enterprise. So it's not the big risks. Well, those happen, but they're not every day. Guess what is the biggest impediment? It's your smaller friction points that if they're not addressed, it's a delayed payment, a system issue, a border problem, a delay in supply. Those issues compound in a manner that is catastrophic for enterprise.
Wow.
So businesses complain about how do we get access when we need finance when we need it. So we're using technology, data analytics, and being able to give you a scorecard that gives you credit when you need it. Number two, the payment rails. Today, if you're sitting in Nairobi, you can get your payments applied across 20 African countries in the local currencies and get your money back. That is something that you don't only have a problem with. What are we supporting the businesses to? Is influencing the policy conversations across the borders. And then finally, we are spending enough time providing funding for women entrepreneurs. And it's an important point for us. If you think about financing overall, we have mispriced risk for women entrepreneurs. It is the single most critical segment of growth across our economy. It is shown that more than half of our enterprises are women-owned. Correct? The gap of financing for those businesses globally, it's more than $1.4 trillion every year.
Wow.
Every year.
That's huge.
Not financed. So because we misprice risk, we don't see the opportunity. But with data, what is important to be in those conversations is to say, how do we solve for them?
How do we?
Then you have a triple bottom line effect. You impact communities, you impact families, you create enterprise, and you build the economy. That is the sweet spot for our markets this year and going forward.
Joshua, as we come to a close, and I love this, I feel like every point you've given in can build into a bigger conversation. But I must ask you this. You see it sometimes in places where you ask the question, what can you propose as a solution for us to, remove all the barriers to anything that we're facing? And I wanted to ask you, put you on the spot a little bit on that.
Correct.
If you had all the resources to just clear one barricade that is really blocking from this potential to happen, what would be your peak?
So I have spent time, in global conversations, whether it's South Africa, in Nairobi, in Washington, in London. what we need, and there are two constraints. What we really need, in my view, there are many constraints. What stops enterprise from growing? Because the future for our transformation as a nation is not going to be driven by public sector. It's driven by the power, the innovation of enterprise. Okay. That you can have an idea. It's the same thing you're seeing with the big IPO that was raised in the US just last week. Yeah. It's individuals with vision, with ambition to say, can you get capital in?
And their private sector.
And their private sector. Right. So that's what we need to be able to do. Now, for our market and as a large financial institutions, I see twofold. I've been excited around some of the big projects, but in our market, they're largely public sector driven. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. You know, we have got the crude oil pipelines in Uganda, which Standard Bank is the only bank behind the crude oil pipeline on the continent. Yeah. They have global financials. We work very closely with the Dangote in the work that is done in the western side. So we are super excited that is looking in the east to build the massive investment for this region. Yeah. So if you're saying, what is the bottleneck? Yeah. So I will summarize it this way, that the way we build enterprise, so I was asked in Washington, the case is clear, the opportunity is high, it looks straightforward. Why is it not moving? Why is anyone not pushing? Exactly the question. And I said there were two main reasons I found out. Yeah. So sometimes ambition is not the problem in our market. We are very ambitious business people. Yeah. Opportunities are not the problem. We have massive opportunities in our market today. I mean, you just saw that we planted more than 8,000 to 200,000 trees in 12-month cycle. Opportunities there. It is the kind of, the process themselves doesn't move as quicker as you anticipate to deliver the results. It could be friction in a payment, which is what we have addressed as a financial institution as Stanbic. It's going to be, how do we make sure that the rails for the borders are easy for us to transact? How do we ensure that payments comes much easier and I want my working capital supported? So if I look at my coffee farmer who is in Nyeri today, or someone who's doing dairy, in Meru Dairy actually today, the question is, how do we make it easier for them to go into the region? That for me is a bigger conversation. And I will close with this point that sometimes we're so successful running our enterprises in one market, in one county, in one town. That in itself actually is the biggest challenge on the continent. Wow. When somebody is trying to say, can I build a new satellite, if I use as an example, that gives you internet access on a global scale. On a global scale. Correct? Yeah. And that was the conversations going on Starlink before. And so we have to learn something from why those businesses are so successful is they are connecting markets. They are connecting opportunities. And we have the financing for it as Stanbic to be able to support our clients going cross-border. So I'm a big fan of the corridor conversation. And remember, we are very integrated. This is the most integrated community on the continent. We trade more than 40% between each other. The next SADC is at 25%. And sometimes we don't always appreciate those facts. Wow. Right? For us, it looks like it's normal. It's not normal. It is super impressive. So every entrepreneur for me is to say the bank is dynamic enough to provide the solutions you need. Frictions will always be there. The question is, are we removing them? And once you remove them, Maina, what do? You compound the impact the business has, and you create what I call in my language a snowball effect. A snowball effect. That's what you've seen for that's what you've seen for our tea farmers. Look at the coffee conversation in Uganda. Today, Uganda is almost becoming the largest exporter of coffee on the continent. Wow. Between $2.5 and $3 billion of exports in Uganda. Uganda was nowhere. Nowhere in the radar there. They are just only second to Ethiopia, but Ethiopia's coffee is generally consumed in Ethiopia. So think about that transformation in 10 years. Big time. And that's the biggest thing for, and I spoke about the orthodox tea in the beginning. So it's exciting to see the conversation and to bring in partners globally. You know, your international partners, the Africa Development Bank, your global institutions are coming to sway. So this is not a point where you say, it is me alone. That conversation doesn't work. It's a collaborative effort to support enterprise. We have more than 10 million small businesses today in our market. The question is, how can they scale from one market? And that is the exciting space why sustainability is so converged with growth in impact and economic development. Wow.
Thank you, Joshua. And as I close, my final question will be about the pipeline of investments that we're seeing, especially in Kenya and even in the wider region that you also serve in as well. When you're seeing them and the momentum that is there, I don't know what excites you the most about the future and the sustainable growth that we can see. And of course, just touch a little bit on some of the lessons, because I'm a keen follower of some of the things that you're doing. You have been talking a little bit about leadership as well and humanizing leadership. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I mean, I've used to enjoy some of the readings that you have.
So I'll say two things, and that's a very good question you raise for me and for the markets.
Right.
Remember, I said that Kenya is a very dynamic economy.
It is.
And sometimes, we speak a lot. And Kenya is known to be the safe space of speaking. And sometimes we spend a lot of time speaking and we forget to put the time in investing and building business. There is no win about it. So if I look at the region for us, what I've said is, how do you provide capital to businesses, remove their friction, and support their growth?
Yeah.
That is the first thing we need to be able to do. And you see Kenyans building that.
Yeah.
How do you enable transactions across the region where we are? And Kenya must take the number one position in the region. That, for me, is something I am very much personally excited about to support. Now, then when you think a little bit about opportunities, Kenya has a lot of opportunities. But I'll speak about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You spoke about infrastructure.
You're right.
We have to continue to invest, whatever you call it, to ease access to logistics.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a small example. When you heard about the special economic zones,
the SEZs,
or export processing zones, correct? This is not because you have a warehouse in the middle of nowhere, not connected to anything, to a market. How do you bring in an economic, an industrial base?
Yeah.
Correct? So you have to bring in infrastructure, which means your power, you're going to have your utilities, your infrastructure, your access to port. That's your skills for the people to work where you are. That's what we see as an opportunity for us. A lot of work is being done in agribusiness. I like agribusiness very much in our country. So, and then the future for leaders, how we will measure leaders in this era. It's not the old model where I came from, which was largely your, direct in command. That was the old model. And look, part of us came from that system. Yeah. And we were not vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
We couldn't share where we made mistakes.
Yeah.
But today is humanizing, using people's feelings, being trustworthy, leveraging power and conversations, and building legacy. Because it's important that we start building organizations that can go beyond. Elon Musk business, if I use an example, is more than 30 years now, or 20 years to say.
Yeah.
Correct? What is our biggest challenges? I started my business minor. After a few months, after a few years, I move on, it ends.
Yeah.
And for me, I am super excited that the future of leadership in our market, in this generation, will be human-led. And I think if we bring the human in the room, use their values and conversations, I am very convicted that we've got the recipe of capabilities in our market. I'm talking about Kenya. What are we known for? Great skills.
Great skills,
true. Good interconnectivity with the Silicon Savannah where we are today, correct? And therefore, those two things are what we should explain. Our people are everywhere, minor. There's no place I have gone. I mean, I went to Washington, I find individuals serving me in a restaurant. Oh. Energetic, enthusiastic, committed, and connected with the continent.
Yeah.
That will be the next positioning. So if you see, it's already going to happen anyway, because the younger generation is saying it's a different regime.
Yeah.
We want flexibility. We want to enjoy our work and experiences. And we, even as a Stanbic, we have said 2 years ago, and I'll tell you, to be honest, I struggled with the hybrid until, one of my leaders asked me, what is really your problem?
Yeah.
What is it? Where is this thing? Where are you stuck? And I said, give me a year. My team will work 100% off from work. They will do other things. Guess what, Maina? It was their best year ever from history. And I salute, Janet Kabiru was one of my leaders for asking me this question. And so look at the dimension. I was a little bit plugged in. Yeah. So today I am a big supporter of hybrid working solution. And there goes the humanized leadership orchestration as putting human age as the competitive advantage in our era, especially the AI era. Thank you.
That's a good way to end it. Thank you so much, Joshua. And I'm happy that transformation happens at all stages in life.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even at my level, exactly.
At your level.
Yeah. Thank you.
There you have it. Thank you so much for your time. That is the regional Stanbic, Dr. Joshua Oigara, and he's quite optimistic. They have just launched their amazing sustainability report 2025. And you can go to their website, get a read, see some of the works they have done, the access to credit they have done, especially to SMEs, women and the likes. We want to appreciate them for keeping that momentum. Thank you so much for your time. I leave you now with the markets.